Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tee and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome. This is the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, aka Friend to Fatherless Daughters on Instagram. And I am on a mission to help people to deal, to heal, and fulfill. To deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Because I believe that everyone can live a life that is whole, that is healed, and that is healthy. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share. Definitely go on Spotify. Give us a rating. That'll definitely help us out. And we're going to jump right into this podcast. Today, just like any other day, we are blessed with a guest. Today, my guest is one and only Mr. Lemar Wilson. How you doing, brother?
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
No problem. Let me start by saying, first of all, you could be doing anything else in the world. I know you got kids and you took out time to be here with me. So I definitely appreciate you being on. Let me make sure I let you know that. So we're going to jump right in, get right into it. So first of all, Lemar, talk to my listeners, get them a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
I'm a motivational speaker, also a at-risk student counsel consultant. So I go into schools and I get with the counselors, the principals, deans, and I work with them with kids that's either, their grades are going to a D. So we work with that. Kids that's not at school, they're sometimes they're 50%, 75%, or 25%. And we try to bring these kids back to school. The idea is to not let them walk out of school. We don't want them to walk into a GED room. Of course, if situations happen, okay, but then with those students, I'm still with them. I still work with GED programs that help the students get their GED. And then, all right, what's the direction? And my focus is to, even with students that's on the right track, that has the good grades, that are passing, that's on the right, that's going, to get their diploma. Okay, what's next? So I created this program called What's Next? Oh, well, I finished 9th grade. Okay, what's next? Well, 10th. Okay, what you got planned? You can't do what you did in 9th grade in the 10th grade. What you did in the 6th grade, you can't do in the 7th grade. You know, and I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids in C and D. And, you know, being a knucklehead and messed up and got my GED and turned around, got my associates, turned around, got my bachelor's. And now it's time for me to give back and
Right.
and stop. I see the students. I see the kids out there. You know, this generation is not like the generation I grew up in. So to me, I want to help you, or at least stop you from making any bad mistakes. And if I can help you, at least if I can have that conversation with you, I did my part.
Right, right. And I was gonna ask you that because one of the things that I've come to know that with those of us who do this type of work, any kind of healing, coaching, or therapist, or teaching in any capacity, generally there's something that happened to us where we pull from to make us like, all right, what I mean? Now I'm gonna do something to change the narrative for somebody else. So I know you mentioned a little bit about, you as that student, you know what I mean? So if you could dive in a little bit more, just tell us a little bit about whatever, just a experience that happened with you that made you say, all right, I done went through this. Now I'm gonna go back and change this narrative for those that's coming after me.
Yeah, it's just where I come from. I come from Astoria projects. I mean, a household, brothers, drug dealers, father, wasn't at home. He chose drugs over his kids. So I seen the drug dealers. I seen the drug addicts. I was born in the 80s, in the crack era, but my brothers was raised in it. So I had to understand that maybe, all right, this environment, maybe that's the environment I'm supposed to be in. And then as I got into junior high school, and I'm starting to notice things now in life. I'm starting to notice that the drug dealers, I started to notice that the friends that stopped going to school, and now they're like, what? Why he's not going to school? Why I got to go to school if this person's going to school? And then it started like clicking, it keeps showing and things. It's like, oh, well, this person got the latest sneakers and that person got the latest clothes. And then high school comes. And now I'm getting introduced to girls. And now I'm like, oh, it's free access for me to leave school and not get in trouble or get the phone call before the teacher, before the teacher talks to my mom. And these situations that kept happening, and then turn around, and then the last week of school, now mind you, I only needed 4 credits to get my high school diploma. As 4 credits. The last week of school, 2 weeks before that, I made an agreement with all my teachers to take a test that will help me get my credit. So I would have my high school diploma, but because I wanted to chase girls, be the cool person, be the class clown with my boys, I get chased out of school. I go back the following week, they suspend me, send a letter to my home. Your son is not graduating. Your son did. We have him on camera leaving the school. My mom said this: you either get a job or you go get your GED. And what I chose, a job. Cause I'm like, man, I'm done with school. I don't even care for that. And I thought my little Macy's job that I was working part-time, my mom's home, I'm good. Life is good. Let me tell you something. I was working at Macy's part-time, and I got an opportunity to work at JetBlue, the airline. Now I'm 18 at this time. I lied on my resume and said that I got my high school diploma. The lady called me. She said, you got the job. What we need you to come in with is, of course, your social security. At that time, they asked for social security and your high school diploma. Whoop, that's where it stops. And I brushed the lady off, thinking it was cool. Back then, it was just the house phone. So she was calling the house phone. And one day, my mom gave me a house phone. I couldn't run no more.
Right.
I told her, I said, ma'am, I'm gonna be honest. I don't have my high school diploma, and I don't have my GED. Now let me tell you how great life is. When I told the lady that, 5 minutes after, the lady called me back. And I'm like, oh my God, she about to read me off more. She said, Lemar, you got a pen and paper? Yes. Go. She said, here's this lady's name, the address, the phone number. You are going to meet her because you don't have a job, which I did. I was again lying. She said, you're gonna meet her at 9 a.m. and you're gonna go there. And I'm gonna call back. And now I'm gonna talk to your mom, Miss Shirley. Now she called so much, she started calling my mom. She already knew my mom, Miss Shirley. So I'm gonna call Miss Shirley and I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna tell her that you have an appointment. I went down there the next day and I met with the lady. That lady was her sister. That lady that I met was the director for a GED program that helps students that was at risk of dropping out. They help them get their GED while they get their associates. So, and when she told me, I said, ma'am, oh no, I got work, I got this. She said, no. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And I'm like, come on, I'm 18. I got the latest sneakers on. I got a little couple dollars from McDonald's and Burger King. And nope. I went, and now here's what I want everybody to understand. I signed up for my GED. Now, in high school, mind you, this was a couple months ago. High school, I was a C and a D student. I went and got my GED. My grades went from a C and a D to an A and a B because I got away from my knucklehead friends. I got my GED, 28 credits. My GED gave me 28 credits towards my associates. And I went and got my
in that right environment.
Exactly.
That change of environment changes everything. You know what I mean?
And I learned something about that, E, that the people that are in your life today, and we're talking teenagers. This is teenage Lemar. Teenager and 20s, they're not here with me today.
Right.
So you having fun right now. Have your fun. But also remember, you got responsibilities.
Yeah. And that's one of my things that I teach. You know, when you're going from a adolescent, you know, to an adult, you know, you're stepping into adulthood. You know, when I'm talking to young men and even young women too, you know, I say it's two things that change you, that part of that stepping stone from going to, you know, childhood to adulthood. That's respect and responsibility. You know, those two things, when you master those two things, now you're an adult. You know what I mean? And you know, until you learn that, you're not an adult, you're just older. You know what I mean? Like you get older, and that get a lot of the young ones get stuck in that. You know, I'm 19, I'm 18, I'm 20, I'm 21. You know, I'm grown. No, you're not. You're older, but mentally you're still a child. Because you haven't learned what respect is. You haven't learned what responsibility is. You haven't learned that, you know, there are some things that's required of you as you get older to be a productive person in this society, and then even to be a productive person in your home. You know what I mean? Because we got kids that's growing up and they think, okay, I'm 18, now I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, you know, inside my parents' home, and you know, now the rules don't apply to me. No, you got to respect the house now. You know, you respected it all this time. You got to continue to respect it, or now it's even worse because you grown. You know what I'm saying? Either you respect my house or you respect somebody else's house. You know what I mean? Because you got, either way it goes, you got to show respect. So either you're gonna get your own and you make your own rules, or you're gonna follow my rules, or you're gonna follow somebody else's rules. You know what I mean? And that's that transition of, you know, responsibility and respect, you know, and when they get those two things and the understanding of those two things, that's when you go to that next level.
Right. And I love that you said that, because what you said was so important. You're going to respect someone else's rules. And we could break that down, because you got to be careful with that. Because sometimes somebody else's rules can lead you into places you don't want to be in. Like jail.
Yep.
or someplace where you had no business in. And so that's why it's so important. That's why when I got to that stage where the lady was like, she was on me, go get your GED and go get it. You cannot walk around this earth with no papers. Get your papers. I remember her to this day saying, don't you walk on this earth with no papers. You can sit there and try to be all cute and all handsome all you want. Yeah, you got a nice smile. That smile ain't gonna get you nowhere. Right. And when I got my GED, I was like, I'm done, E. I'm done. I got my GED. I'm good. I'm about to go. Oh, let me see if I can get that job. And that job, she said, oh, that job got filled. She said, why are you here? Lady told me, why are you here? You got class coming up in 2 weeks. No, I don't. I got my GED. No. We signed you up for your associates. Oh, come on. Because I respected the lady so much. And what she did for me to this day, I still haven't found her. What she did for me, I will always be in her grace. She already signed me up for my associates. She said, you like to talk. I'm gonna put you in a criminal justice major. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Right. I didn't know what I want to do. So I'm like, okay, I get it. If you don't know what you want to do with your life, that does not give you the right to sit at home and watch TV and be on social media and chill. No, go to school. Because if you in school, I guarantee you 1,000% you're gonna find something that you like and that you're gonna just say, you know what, I like this. This puts me in a good mood. I'm gonna keep going with this. Right. And I tell you, I love criminal justice. I left there with an A. With my associates, I left with an A. But then here's the crazy thing: when I did my internship, and I was there physically, have to be there and talk about the cases. I'm like, no, this ain't for me. They chopping up bodies, putting them in suitcases. Nope, not me. I don't got the stomach. I don't got the stomach. But here's how God plays the part. God said, again, son, I gave you a gift to speak. So he put me, so now I had so much energy about school. I had so much energy about school. I said, my mom told me, well, you got your associates. What's next? Work? That's what you want to do? Yeah. Said, no, go get your bachelor's. My mom didn't go to my graduation for my associates. She said, that's not enough. I didn't even go to my graduation. She said, that's not enough. What are you celebrating? There's more room to grow. Why do you think they got associates, bachelors, masters, doctors? There's so much room. So I went and got my bachelor's. But now I went and got my bachelor's, you would think it'd be in criminal justice. No, it was in business marketing. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm doing that. I'm doing business management and marketing. And I'm like, and I'm talking, I'm doing communication, I'm doing all this stuff now because I'm like, all right, let me make sure that what I'm doing, it makes sense. So I can get on stage and I have no fear. People are like, yo, man, you have no problem public speaking. No, because that's all I do. Right. I do that. I get around my friends. I get around people. I never had a fear. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So now I have that energy and that purpose to say, you know what? I could get my bachelor's and then I could go take this and I could go back and say, all right, I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I just was a knucklehead trying to be around people that's not even with me now. Right. And that's what I did. But it hit because when I was going to get my bachelor's, I got locked up 2 times. I got locked up 2 times for something I didn't do. One time, sitting in an area where they were smoking weed. And because they got up and I went and sat down because I wanted to sit and hang out with my friends, cops thought we were smoking weed. And I tried everything, being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Smell my hands, smell my breath. And I take a lie detector. They cuffed me up. And when they cuffed me, they put handcuffs on me so tight that when it told me they don't care what I say. They believe what they believe. Again, I'm in my projects, in my what they call housing projects, whatever.
Yeah.
And they put cuffs on me for something I didn't do. Second time, I'm doing good, E. I'm going to school. I'm going to work. I'm not hanging out. I'm doing everything, E. And turn around, my house get raided. I got guns pressed on my head and on my back. Don't move. I'm thinking we're getting robbed. It's cops. We're looking for the guns. What guns? What guns? And my brothers and my mom get locked up. My sisters, everybody in the household get locked up for something we didn't do. Because my brothers out there, they're doing their thing, whatever. So I created an environment for myself. What I started doing, E, I started watching when cops raid houses. I can't tell my brothers to stop what they're doing. They grown. I'm the baby boy. They ain't gonna listen to me. They're gonna beat me up and be like, man, get out of here. You know? But here's the crazy thing, E. In that environment, in that household, I created an environment where I know police, and I might be giving out stuff if you got any police listening, but back then, in 2004, they came in the morning where everybody was asleep at 6 o'clock in the morning. And they came at 9 o'clock at night. So E, I went to school when I was going to get my bachelor's. I said, listen, I need a class that starts before 6 in the morning, and I need a class that ends at 11 or 12. So I will be out the house. I will come home at 1 o'clock in the morning, get back up at 5. I did that for 2 years straight to make sure that I don't get caught up in someone else's mess. Because I was like, I know I'm not that person, and I'm getting blamed for stuff that I'm not doing. I don't deserve to be in handcuffs. I don't deserve to have a record if I'm not doing it.
Right.
So I said I went to school from 8 in the morning to 5. Got on the train, ran. One day I ran from, I got out the train from 5. I had to be in class by 5:30. I bumped into P. Diddy. He hit the floor and everything. I picked him up. I'll tell you this. I picked him up. I said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was him until I looked. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, but I got to go to class. I got to class every day at 5:30. I'd never been late. I stayed from 5:30. I had gas between my classes. I didn't get out of school till 12:30, 12:45. And the counselor one day, she asked, why do you keep picking these late classes? And I told her, and she said, the only way you're going to escape this, you're going to have to move out. I said, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. That is what I'm doing.
I talk about that myself a little bit about, like we mentioned earlier about that change of environment, because, all the time you're not able to, maybe at that present time, change your physical environment. You know what I'm saying? So you have to change your personal environment inside of your physical environment, and that may be, sometime, getting out of that space and allowing yourself, like you did. Okay, I know, like they say, the freaks come out at night. Okay, cool. So I'm not gonna be out at night. You know what I'm saying? Right. But it's taking account of those things and those people, those environments, those, different things that's going on, and saying, okay, I don't want no parts of that. Let me structure myself, my time, the things that I'm into. Although I'm still in this environment, let me structure myself in a way that I can avoid, these different pitfalls, and we don't have to fall into that. And, so often, we, or should I say our young ones, you know what I mean? They don't take that in consideration. They think about, okay, this all it is, and their minds are limited to even thinking beyond the environment that they're in. A lot of times, because of the people that's in the environment have never left the environment,
Exactly.
And I remember, I'm out of Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and I went to Gary and doing some work with some churches in Gary, and we began to ask the people like, "Have you ever been to downtown?" And they're like, "No." Downtown is literally only 30 minutes away. You know what I mean? But it's like they've never been outside of Gary, Indiana. You know what I mean? It's like that's and then it's a metro that runs right there that will take you all the way there. You know what I mean? It's like a $6 ticket, to get into this whole nother space, to go from Gary to downtown Chicago, see the Buckingham Fountain, see the, Sears Tower at that time. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole nother world, but oftentimes we get stuck in this environment, and because we've never physically moved out of the environment, our mentality never moves out the environment either.
There you go.
You get this, circulation and one generation after the next, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, and nothing ever changed. And I know they say, nothing will change until something change. You know what I mean? So if you can't change your space physically, your environment, then you got to change your mental environment. You got to change what you're listening to. You got to change who you're listening to. You got to change who you're hanging around. You know what I mean? You got to get yourself in another environment. Like you said, going to school. You get in school, you might not know what you want to be when you're on the block, because you only see what's available on the block. But once you start going to school and seeing that, oh, this person going to be a doctor, or this person going to do this, this person going to do that. Well, what can I do? And you see those possibilities just by being in that environment. And sometimes that's all it takes. Because a lot of times I've come to find out that there's such a group of us who mentally have the ability to be whatever they want to be, to be able to be doctors, whatever, because they're smart enough to. But because they're in an environment that doesn't promote education or promote or even stretch them enough to think mentally beyond this space, then they're confined in that space. But once you take them out of that environment and put them in a more productive environment, you see them blossom. You know what I mean? And just turn into something different. I want to hit up something right quick, because we running real fast, but I want to go back a little bit, because one of the things that I heard you mention was about your dad not being in the home, which definitely is a big thing, that plays a part in a young man's life as well as a young lady. And your mom was there. So how was that relationship, or lack thereof, with your dad, then compared to now, I guess you could say, but then also their relationship with your mom, to help to nourish you into the person that you became today?
Yeah. Well, my dad was never at home. My dad was pretty much out doing whatever stuff he was doing. But I mean, he was on drugs. He was choosing drugs over his family. And, I could see him. I mean, it's 24 buildings. My building is the very last building. So I got to walk through the projects, and I can see him hanging out with his friends, and I'll run to him. And of course he acknowledged, and then, when he's not high. But then that one time I come home from school and I see him on the park bench, and I'm thinking he's tired, or he's, it's hot outside. And I run to him and I ask him for $1 because I want to get some ice cream. Why? Because all my friends got their fathers or their brothers or their uncles, they got money, they already have money to go get the ice cream from the truck. And I run to him, and he don't know who I am. And he has a needle in his arm. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, Daddy, it's your son, it's Lemar. And he can't even talk. So I run home. Now I'm about 12, 13. I run home. I get in the house. My mom's like, what happened? What happened? Of course, you don't want to talk. My mom comes in the room. And then I have to tell her what happened. And she calls his brother. And then, situation happened. But he don't know what's going on. And from that point, beforehand, There's something about a man and their father that we always, no matter what's going on, we always want them around. We want them there. And I always, no matter what, I used to be in the hallway, and because I seen him beforehand, and I would say, "Hey, Daddy, are you gonna come and see me?" Yeah, I'm gonna be there at 3 p.m. And I'm in the hallway, waiting and waiting, and my mom don't want to tell me that he's not coming, and waiting. And then and then one time he did come, and I'm like, "I told you, Mom. I told you, Mom." And that same day, they got into the fighting, and I watched him put his hands on my mother. And then that again, that built up more hate. And I'm at 12, 13 years old, and no 12 or 13-year-old kid should ever have to say these words. When I have kids, I'm never going to treat my kids like that. I'm never going to do drugs. I'm never going to be that man. And I remember going in the closet, this small closet, and I cried. Why my father don't want me? Why my father don't want to be a father? What did I do? I'm his first child. Why he don't want me? And that day, I told myself I will never be him. And I hated him. And no matter what. And I never had any animosity towards any of my friends that had their father in their life. Mm-hmm. But what I did have was that fire to when I am ready to have kids, whether it's a girl or a boy, I will always be in their life. I will always, there won't be a day they will ever say, my dad wasn't there for me. Now, he might be late to one of your little concerts, but I'm there. But here's the thing. I went on for almost 4 or 5 years of hatred of this man. Don't want to see him. I stopped calling him daddy. I started calling him Bobby. Oh, Bobby was looking for you. Oh, I saw your dad. Who, Bobby? He ain't my daddy. And one day I was playing basketball. My mom came to me. She said, Lemar, we got to go. Your father's in the hospital. Stop calling him my father. He's not my father. His name is Bobby. Bobby's in the hospital. And she said, no. You need to be there. They are asking for you. I went to the hospital. The priest was asking for me. And he said, oh, is that the son? I remember it. Is that the son? Yes, come with me. He grabbed me. He brought me in the room. And he said, son, I'm going to tell you this right now. He's been asking for you. So I don't know why. Never asked for me. Because I have all this, I'm young. I have all this anger. He says, son, I'm going to be straightforward with you. This is going to be the last time you see your father. So whatever you holding inside, let it go. And that's what clicked about everything I do and I treat with life to this day. I never know when it's gonna be my last time to see this person or anything. I let it go. And I'm like, I have to understand that when I stood in front of him, I grabbed his hand and I said, I have to forgive you. Even though I don't want to, I have to forgive you. I have to forgive you. And then once I did that, that's when everything went away. Everything. And once I went, give me one moment. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. So I think that's the biggest thing that young men right now we're holding is forgiveness. And I don't want nobody, and this is what, to me, I waited till my father was on his deathbed. We say that stuff. Like that literally comes out of our mouth. Oh, they don't forgive you till you get on your deathbed. Like that literally happened to me. Like my father held me and he whispered in my ear, he said, He said, Lemar, he said, son, I'm so sorry. And I could feel his hand cold, but his hand, our hands is like this. His hand was blown up. And I went to the doctor, I said, what? Now, mind you, I'm calling him Bobby. This was the first time I started calling him. What happened to my dad? He said, oh, he overdosed. I said, well, can you save him? He said, we can't. It's too bad. This is at a point now, it's too bad. And I'm like, I started crying. All that hatred, all that grudge, everything. It was at the point where I'm like, I lost my dad. And I'm like, this is it. And from that point, it taught me something. It ain't that deep. It's not that deep. And as much as, yes, we want our fathers in our life, we want our moms in our life, we didn't ask to be born. I get it. But when those wings are ready, when God says those wings are ready, you gotta wait till you get up there to say, I forgive you. And if you got an opportunity right now, after all the crap that we dealt with this pandemic, all the crap that's going on in the world today, you got an opportunity to say, I'm sorry. I forgive you. I forgive you for hurting me. Even if you don't even sorry, I forgive you. Why? Because I know I didn't deserve it. So I'm going to stop hating myself and start loving you, even if you don't love me anymore. And that was it. To this day, I stay with that. I stand on that. I don't hate nobody. I love you. If I messed up, cool. But I lost too much in my life. I lost my mom to brain cancer. I lost my dad. Like, there's nothing else. There's nothing else for me. Like this, I lost my uncle 3 days after my birthday. I talked to him. I said, Uncle Robert, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna go have our mini little family reunion. 3 days later, he's gone. So at this point, I cannot hate nobody. So when they see me on the video, they see me speaking and they see me with the kids and they see me doing stuff. This ain't no joke. This is something that I love y'all. I love you enough because I done lost so much in my life that I don't want you to make those same mistakes. So you have a grudge. You got something going on. You got a relationship that's broken. Fix it. Fix it. It's not that serious. You fix it. Because when your little brother begs you to go play basketball with you and you decide that you want to chase girls and you don't want him to come, and then when you come home and everybody in the projects run to you and say your brother passed away, you hold that guilt and they tell you, oh, you got to let it go. It's not your fault. It is my fault because he should have been with me. He should have been with me. And if someone wants to be around you, you bring them along because you don't know what that person's going through. That person says, I want to talk to you. Please, whenever you get time, you don't brush them off. I don't got time now, but I promise you, I'm going to set a reminder and I'm going to have time later. Life is too short to be holding these grudges. I'm sorry I'm going off the rant, but I
wanted to go there. I wanted to go there because recently, actually a couple of weeks ago, I was on I was a part of a forgiveness workshop, right? And I was a speaker in this workshop, and we was talking about forgiveness, and even like you were speaking of, even self-forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? And so definitely I understand how important forgiveness is. And a lot of times people don't realize that, forgiveness is not for the other person. You know what I mean? It's for you. And there are sometimes you have to, tell people, like you said, I forgive you for hurting me, because what you did, wherever you did it, by me holding on to it is causing me more pain, which really I'm causing myself, and when we talk about self-forgiveness, which is one of the things that I spoke on. And I actually just finished my first ebook, and it's called Forgiving Self, 4 steps to self-forgiveness. And one of the things that I talk about is, if you look at the word self as an acronym, so when you're talking about forgiving yourself, what does that mean? Well, you want to think about several things. Number one, if you look at the S, the season of life. What season of life were you in, when you did whatever you did that you're holding against yourself now? Whatever that activity was that you did that you can't forgive yourself for, what season of life were you in? You know what I mean? Like, what was going on in your life at that time that added to you making that decision, right? So when we look at the E, that's the emotional state. What emotional state were you in? You mentioned about, losing loved ones. And I remember when I lost my mom to cancer, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure I was not in a good mental, emotional space at that time. So if I make a decision in that emotional space that don't turn out, in my best interest, then I have to take that into consideration. The L that I think of with the self as an acronym is limited information, because sometimes we make a decision based on the information that we have at the time, but because we don't have all the information, you know what I mean, that it doesn't work out. And then the F is just forgiving yourself by acknowledging that at the time of that offense, at the time of you doing whatever you did, you was just doing your best with what you had at that time. And so when we take those things in consideration, with the things that we're holding ourselves for, the unforgiveness that we're holding against ourselves, then we're able to work through it emotionally and mentally to realize, okay, I can't forgive myself, for what I did, because at that time there was other circumstances that happened to make me react that way. And that's what I was doing. I was reacting, to my environment at that time. And when we begin to unpack that, we'll realize how those things affect us, And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's why I was, letting you go ahead on, because I was going to ask you about that too, because one of the other things that you were mentioning outside of the forgiveness was those relationships, and how your relationships plays, different parts in your life, and how those relationships, sometimes we have some real meaningful, strong relationships that, we let go of for various reasons. And then there are some relationships that we should let go of that we hold on, for various reasons. So, just briefly, if you could, just talk to us a little bit about, those relationships and how important, the right relationships are in our lives that can change us, change the whole trajectory of our lives. And I know that you mentioned about, the lady who made the phone call to put you in the GED class. You know what I'm saying? Like that one thing, and you said, you haven't even been able to contact her, excuse me, since then. But that one action changed the whole trajectory of your life. You know what I'm saying? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like even, before even that, just the relationship I have with my mom. What I had with my mom was, she was the main source. The thing was, she made it comfortable to say, "You're mama's boy," and and to me, it never bothered me. Like, my mom never said, I'm your mom and your dad. No, she's like, no, I'm your mom. But what I have 4 boys. 3 of them I can't control. They're just gonna do what they're gonna do. But you, I'm gonna control you. And she didn't do it in a fair way. She did it in a way of respect women, respect yourself, respect your household, respect the people around you. She gave me these lessons. She said, one, don't you ever walk around this earth and believe that someone else is not in a worse space than you. You might be having a bad day. Someone else's, their day is even worse than what yours. Mm-hmm. Always be grateful for what you have. She told me, no matter what, if that's your only food that you got, and someone mentions it or look at it, you offer it to them. Never let someone if it's cold outside, you give them the coat off your back. Always give them a place to stay. And I stand by that. My mom taught me you can do anything. You can do anything. Like there's no limits to what you wanted to do. And she pushed me to that. She gave me that motivation to what she would say, oh, if I say, oh, I can't do it, she's like, don't say you can't do it. Just say you haven't tried. And turned around when I started working at Macy's, and 10 years later, I went to go buy my first home. And she turned around and I'm like, I don't know where I'm gonna get the money. She said, well, I put a 401k in for you. Oh, that's that money that been coming out my check that I just didn't know what you was doing and it was pissing me off. Yeah. Yeah. Because I knew you don't know how to save money. At your age, you ain't saving money. You might save money for those little Jordans you wear, but you ain't saving money. And turned around, I was able to buy my first home. And then let me tell you this, E. My mom's name is Shirley. I wanted to buy a home that my mom could live in with us because she was retired. My mom passed away after I bought the home, but God put me in a home in a town named after Shirley. So my mom is still with me.
Right.
And so that relationship, it made me who I am today when it comes to having relationships with the opposite sex, a female, with my wife, my sisters, because when I have a conversation, I know my mom is listening. I know my mom is watching, and that's one thing I'm not whether she's on this earth or she's not. I'm not disrespecting my mom, and hearing relationships that I have now with people I hold dearly, because I know, people, you don't know when this is it. So to me, I don't want to have no grudges. I don't want to have no issues. I want to forgive. I didn't talk to my little sister for almost 4 years. And just recently, God told me, you need to make amends with your little sister because she needs you. And my little sister said, I was never mad at you. I just knew you was mad at me, so I just gave you your space. And now we talk every day. We crack jokes and everything. Relationships to me is the most important thing on this earth, because I know I don't ask for nothing from anybody besides your time. Because it's been said, you can make money. They could print money, they could do all that, but they can't print time. So when I get around people or I talk to people just like you and me right now, having this, I cherish this. I cherish this. Why? Because I don't know if I'm gonna have another opportunity. So I'm gonna take this opportunity and I'm gonna give you everything of me now, and I'm not holding nothing back. I don't want to press the off button and like, man, E, I should have said that. Man, I should have told him that. I should have opened up about that. I have nothing to hide. I am a high school dropout. I left with 4 credits. Yeah, I didn't have my father. Yeah, my mom, she sent me to the store when I was 8 years old to go buy beer. But you know something? Those times when I went and bought beer for my mom at 8 years old, going to the store, coming home, and my mom blasting music with the speaker in front of the window, I cherish those times. I'll do anything to get those times back. Why? Because I used to dance in front of her while she blasted her music. So that same music she was blasting back then in the 90s, and I'm listening to it now, those bringing back those relationship times I had. So cherish those times you got with people. Those are the times. You focus on all the negative stuff. I said, once I realized that, E, I'm like, man, bump that. If it's 4 things going right in your life right now, focus on the 4 things. The other 96 issues that you got going on, man, half of that you can't even control anyway.
Right.
That's what I'm on. That's what I'm on this year.
Man, we already been on here a minute, man. I was going to tell you close it out with some good stuff, but I don't think you can top it out, man. You've been dropping knowledge the whole time. But I'm gonna say this, man. I want you to leave us just with a quick word of advice, or inspiration, whatever that touches your heart to do, and definitely give us where we can find you at, how somebody can work with you or reach out to you if they wanted to. Definitely your social media handles and all that stuff. So I'll let you have the last word pretty much, and just tell my listeners how they can get in contact with
you. Yeah, so I want to leave everybody with this message that you can do anything. And I know that sounds cheesy to say, but honestly, like, people are going to Japan. People are going to Paris. People are traveling. People are buying mansions, putting sharks and fish tanks and stuff. And it's like, they wasn't doing that back in the days. So the world is open. And so that means your mind got to be open too. You got to be open to stuff. And don't let nobody, you don't need verification from nobody. And I'm telling you, the more you let go of those grudges, that pride, that ego, you know what ego is? If you break it down, the acronym, it's itching God out. It's itching God out when you have an ego. And I want you, if you listen to anything from this interview, understand that you have to honestly believe that you belong here. And you can take the littlest stuff that you have and create the Grand Canyon. And I'm arm distance. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I am Lemar Wilson. I am Lemar Wilson. That's IAMLEMARWILSON. You want to talk to me just to have conversation? Email me. booklemarwilson@gmail.com. Like, I'm arm distance. It's one thing about me. I'm not trying to be this guy that hit me up today and I won't never reply. No, I got 3 kids. My phone is always in my hand. Let's not sugarcoat it. My phone is always in my hand. So if I got the time, I promise you're going to get my time.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Lemar, I know I've seen you on Instagram. Not necessarily Instagram. I think I first came across you on TikTok. I saw a couple of your TikToks, and I definitely was following you, and definitely appreciate you taking out the time to actually talk to me and talk to my listeners and drop the wisdom that you've gotten over the years. I really appreciate you being on the on the podcast. So to all my listeners, I hope y'all got something out of this, man. I definitely did. Definitely talking about forgiveness, definitely talking about the relationships that we have with one another and how important they are, especially realizing that we don't know when the next time that we're going to see somebody. We don't know when the next time is going to be the last time. So I encourage you, just as Lemar said, definitely take out the time to nourish those relationships, to nourish that forgiveness, man. Keep that forgiveness in your heart, not only for other people, but also forgiveness for yourself. So again, this is E. James. This is the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And I'm on a mission to help people to deal, to heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So until next time, guys, keep an ear out. Keep listening out. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next week. Hey, guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right? See you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.com. www.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.